Hello there. Welcome, folks. What is happening? We will just, what's up, Jason? Just give everybody a little bit of time to funnel in, and we'll get to cranking. Moose, you gotta be so noisy. Come on in. Welcome. What's up, Justin? All right, so yeah, we're going to twist up. I've got, what do I got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 different patterns. Thanks, dude. All the best to you as well. So yeah, 4 or 5 patterns. I'm going to tie what I can kind of get through, and then I will kind of honorable mention the others. So a lot of this stuff is probably not a secret to you guys, especially if you follow our page. We fish 100% of the stuff that we post, so you've likely seen this before, most of these patterns, but they are the top producers for this year. So we're going to go ahead and tie them up. First one here is just a simple, as are most of them, with, what do we got here? Breeding tons of hooks. Good choice. Canadian Llama. Anyhow, this is a simple ice dub leech. Hook choice on any of these is going to be up to you. I've just gone with pretty legit sizes because I am going to give these away. And Moose isn't happy with something outside. Yeah, go get your ball. So we're going to give these away. I've got these, and I don't know if you can see these. I'll pull these out. So we've got a new product on the website. Shameless plug. But it's a leech that we've been kind of fishing this year. And that's what it looks like there. So Opal eye, emerald eye for green bead, and then the classic ruby eye. But this chenille is a little bit new, something we've played with. So I'll tie a half a dozen, and I got a half a dozen of these leeches that somebody can help us do a little bit more testing on. We've only fished them this fall. They did really, really well, but we want to give them a go next spring. So one of you guys can do a little recon mission for us and let us know how they work for you. So that's the Gojo leech, and we will hand those out at the end. So you do have to be here to claim your flies, so totally up to you if you want to stick around or pop back in. But enough yip yapping. I will do that sometimes. We will tie some flies. The alarm is sounding. He's, yeah, come on in. Okay, so black thread, hot orange bead, and some black marabou. I peel the marabou right off the side of the stem for these ones. That gives me the best tail. Super, super wispy. And tons of movement in the water. And this thing is simple, but it's bulletproof. So tie the marabou right in behind the bead, and then just work that back, keeping it on top if you can. And then 1 or 2 wraps just to prop things up. We'll clean that all up. And then pinch this to length. And about the body length. You don't need a super long tail on these ones, but about like that. And I apologize if I miss questions. But we got a few flies to get through here. So dubbing twister, quick loop. You don't need wire. You don't need any rib on this fly. You can certainly build your dubbing brushes ahead of time, and then tie in a wire dubbing brush, and that will last you even longer than what this does. But these things are pretty durable. And then the magic for this is the black UV ice dub. That's all the body is. So, like I say, pretty basic. Not reinventing the wheel with this thing, but tough days, early spring, late fall, mornings, evenings, it is the go-to leech. Rob usually keeps a kind of an on-the-go fly box going. So he's got a bunch of small boxes, and then the one leech that you'll find on kind of his working flies box all the time is this one. So pretty sparse little loop there, twist it up, and give it just a wee bit of a brush. When you brush, it kind of gives you a chance to get any of the chunky spots out of your rope too. So you can see now that rope is actually pretty even. All right, now straightforward, wrap it up. If you have a rotary vise like I do, and you actually use it for what it is, then I suggest using the rotary feature. If not, just run it up. And I'm just kind of sweeping these things, these fibers back as I go, and then I'll be able to brush this out afterwards. And then it'll get itself kind of right into the tail. And if I've done it decent, should have just enough. So we will just tie that off. Sorry, dubbing. Okay. Clear it. And if you want to, throw some super glue on your thread and just throw some wraps in here with it, and then whip finish. Sometimes if you put super glue on your thread while you're whip finishing, your thread will break. So it's good to just throw it on there first. If that's what you want to do, you can always do it after as well. I'm a Stillwater fella, bud, so I can't really help you with that one. There are plenty more knowledgeable steelhead anglers out there that you could ask that question. I apologize, I don't have the answer. Okay, so buggy AF, simple. The dubbing flows right back into that tail, and yeah, bada bing, bada boom. Simple and easy. So, because I'm giving them away, I'm going to tie 2 of each. So fire off questions as I tie this one, because I already explained how to tie it. I do fish this under an indicator, but as with all leeches, you're welcome to strip it as well. Walk it in on a full sinker. There's all kinds of ways to fish them, but that one that this one here that I'm tying, will certainly work under the ice. The olive humongous has caught flies under the ice already this year. And the WMD Scud has also caught fish under the ice this year. But typically leeches, sometimes nymphs, I mean, anything that's going to be in the water year-round is a good choice. Last year we kept a few fish from fishing, and when we got home, they were absolutely chocked full of big old dragon nymphs. So that could be something to try too. Size hook. This is a size 10, 1760. But again, size are all relative. You can tie this in any size you want. Yeah, you're very welcome. Good luck on the ice. There you go. Justin's got you with the steelhead questions. He's a hell of a fly tyer and ties all kinds of stuff, so he's a good guy to know. I do that with semi-seal leeches sometimes. Never with my ice dub leeches though. I think after being in the water, they will straighten out eventually, but I think the buggy kind of, pulsing that this gets in the water is kind of what helps it to be what it is. So, it's not about speed, bud. If you're just starting, just focus on your quality. If it takes you half an hour to tie a fly, guess what? You got a shit ton of hours until spring. So take your time, and it's just like anything else. In time, the more you do it, the more thread wraps you get, the more flies you tie, the speed will come for sure. But focus on quality over quantity to start. Dubbing is black UV ice dub. I do not wax my thread, no. It's a dubbing loop, so sometimes if you're just twisting the dubbing on with your fingers, and you can do that with this fly. If you're not comfortable tying dubbing loops, you can just grab the dubbing and spin it on if you want to. But it doesn't get as buggy. You really got to brush it out. And so I recommend doing the loop if you can. But so fly giveaway update, you just got to be here when we're finished. So these usually run about an hour. And like I say, you're welcome to come back. How I do it is I do it right here live. I don't do it afterwards. So I'll scroll through the comments and I just push my finger down, and whoever's name my finger lands on is who wins. And you got to be here to claim it. That's my only catch. So stick around or pop back in later, but the more your name shows up in my thing here, the better chance you got at winning. Anybody that spams it can't win. All right. So quick brush. And anything that's super long can pluck out, but when that flows into that tail, it's, they're super, super sick. So there you go. See, thumbs up are allowed. Boom, boom, boom. Look at you guys go. Under a leech, does the leech go vertical? Under an indicator, yeah, it likely does, but I mean, I don't fish an indicator on still water. So I need to have a ripple of some sort. So if you have a ripple, that leech is as the waves come up and down like this, the leech is gonna swim. So yeah, it's kind of vertical, but you know what I'm saying? That's, that's how she goes. All right, giddy up, that is done. Now we're gonna change gears here a little bit and go to a mayfly. So this mayfly is tied in a few different colors, but basically the only one of the very few, other than like a basic pheasant tail, that I fished this year and that we fished this year. So it's durable, it's simple, and it catches us awesome. Caught some really nice fish with it this year. Tie a perfection loop to avoid. Yeah, you can, to each their own. You can certainly tie it on a jig hook. There's a lot of stuff coming in here, so I'm doing my best to keep up, guys. Anyhow, yellow thread, crystal flash. This is a grizzly crystal flash. So it's two-tone black and copper. If anybody knows where to find brown crystal flash, please let us know. They had it years ago, but I have not seen it in a very long time. So anyhow, I got 3 strands of this. You can grab 3 or 4, whatever your preference. And just 1 underneath. And then I'm going to come back up. And I'm just building a bit of a taper as I work there. Extra small copper wire. How does the first fly work ice fishing? Doesn't it go? Well, you should just maybe try it, and then you will see. I just explained how it goes. Up under a bobber, if you ever jig a leech in an ice fishing hole up and down, you're going to notice that it swims up and down, not just hangs this way. Do you add any lead when switching to under the ice? No, all of this stuff is tungsten, so it's yeah, you can add lead if you want to, but I find with the tungsten it's just good. If you want to add lead and jam it up under your bead, that'll help that jigging effect that I was talking about. So when you move the fly, it'll bounce a little better. Okay, this here is, I don't know what the hell this is, tulip. It's like a permanent marker. So I've got the yellow thread, and I'm just taking this and just going on the top side of the fly. So now I've got a dark top and a light bottom. You can actually probably see how bright that bottom is and how dark that top is. So if you look at the maze around here, you'll find a few different color variations, but this is very close to one of the ones we see the most. And this is just extra small copper wire that I tied in for the rib. And I'll break that off and trim this fairly short. So mayflies do not have long tails. They've just got 3 little tufts back there. So you don't need big long tails. Just like so is really all you need. I might be able to get a little bit closer on this one. It's going to be fuzzy anyways. Okay, so the TNA is what we call this, and the reason for that is because it's thread and ASB. So for the wing case, I've got some ASB here. So this is the 2mm stuff from the website, and I'll just capture that and then wrap it back to about where I left my last rib. With maize, you're kind of going like 2/3, 1/3. So 2/3 body, 1/3 thorax. That's kind of a good rule of thumb. Too close? All right, back it up. Excuse my ugly chin. Chocolate brown ice dub. Yes, I might be an ice dub junkie, but the shit catches fish. So, all right. So not a lot. Just need enough to create a little bit of a thorax. That's probably good. Too far. You guys are too picky. And then I don't tie any legs on this fly, and that's kind of why I like this ice tub. So just to keep it simple and easy, we didn't bother putting legs on it, because you'll see when we're done. So I've just dubbed a little thorax there, and I'm going to pull my ASB nice and snug right over the top. Like so. And then I will get in there. If I just nick it and then pull it across, it comes out pretty clean. And then because I've got yellow thread, I just take that same brown marker that I colored the body with, and just color it before I do a whip finish. Come in here. And really, if you keep it decently sparse, then you're not even going to see your whip finish. It kind of tucks in with the bead, and that brown color marker, it's like a light brown, works well to blend with the copper. All right, so now we just get that a little bit buggy, kind of push those fibers back, and now we've got, so again, a dab of super glue right on top of the wing case and the thread wraps. And that thing's super durable. I mean, it's a thread body, but you can see the bright yellow underneath, and then it's nice and dark up top. Nice shiny ASB wing case. Rather than pheasant tail or something, this crystal flash will actually last quite a while. And then the buggy ice dub is legs, and then copper bead. So copper wire, copper bead, yellow thread, crystal flash, ASB. That is the TNA mayfly. Pretty killer pattern. I have like 24 of them sitting here right now. I was tying a ton of them last night. So let me crank out one more here, and then we'll get on to the next pattern. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is simple, guys. Like, I mean, I'm as guilty as the next guy in wanting to tie stuff that, you know, uses all kinds of materials and looks really flashy and new and that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, for us anyways, I mean, the ultimate goal is catching fish. So, hey, I haven't thrown them away yet, but they're not very sharp anymore. So, anyhow, yeah, so simple catches fish. And if we're out there to try and catch fish, and we can do it with simple flies. Simple flies, I mean, the reason we keep going back to them is because they typically work better than anything super fancy. I mean, why do you think pheasant tails are still around? Hare's ears, you know, all that old school stuff is pretty go-to and when you're fishing nymphs, and there's all kinds of new materials since those, and sometimes you can't beat a good thing. Okay, so I'm trying to keep up with the ranking them out tonight. These are just the top in each kind of category. So we did the Leech. I'm going to do the May. I'll mention some others that we don't have time to tie, but I have not tried cutting aluminum foil to sharpen scissors. All right, I had some copper wire here somewhere. There it is. So small, extra small copper wire. I don't tie these Mays bigger than this one very often. So this is a 1760. So that's about as big as, I mean, you can go to a 12 and, you know, likely get into some fish for sure. But like I say, I prefer the smaller sizes, 14, 16, 18. And wrap your rib, just even spacing on the rib. I typically get kind of 4 or 5 ribs to each fly, but all you're looking for is some segmentation. The two-tone body color is huge with these things. I've never taken a mayfly sample where, you know, the top wasn't a different color than the bottom. You know, sometimes they'll be a little bit lighter up top or whatever, but this this yellowish kind of color and then olivey colors are for sure the most popular, but this combo right here is the best combo I could recommend. My favorite fly tying hook book. Oh, sorry. I've never read one. So I have a few kicking around, but yeah, never Never read a fly tying book. It's funny you should ask that question because I just realized I've never read one. I've read every possible thing on the internet, but so you can see even without wax, ice stub pops on there super easy. I think I'm going to need a little bit more on this one. Jared got some of the flies and they slay. Good to hear, bud. I learned to tie pretty much on my own. Obviously with, you know, the internet, there's a ton of videos and stuff like that. I mean, you know, part of the reason I enjoy doing what I'm doing right now, showing you guys, is because if it wasn't for people like that, I would never be where I am right now. I mean, other than, you know, time, I put in a pile of time at the bench learning and teaching, and I've only been tying for 6 years. But learning this stuff and figuring it all out and trial and error, and if it wasn't for some of the guys online, I would have never shortened the learning curve like I was able to. And yeah, so watch videos and a whole lot of practice. You can't replace time. I mean, it's like anything, you know, you go play golf, you put time in, put practice in, and you'll get better at it. You don't, you just go out and play every now and then, you know, you're gonna not be the greatest. So it all depends on how you want to do it and where you want to take it. And yeah. Canadian whiskey recommendations. I enjoy, I have some in my coffee right now. 40 Creek Cream, it's called. If you take a coffee or a hot chocolate with you to the lake or to the river, then throw some of that in there. Very, very good. Okay, now crawny time. Number one crawny of the season. Drum roll, please. You are not going to be surprised. It's a Zook. Yeah, so pretty much been a staple for quite a few years now, and it every year. I mean, we hear lots of people talk about it, but I don't know that many realize how much this thing gets fished. But oh, there you go. The Nanaimo bar is pretty good. I'll give you that. But I'm a 40 Creek Cream guy through and through. I don't drink hardly ever, so that stuff, there's always a bottle or two here. Zook, yes, Zook. So black thread, scud hook, white bead, red wire, black hollow tinsel. That is it, and that is all. These things are simple, and they are ridiculous. When dark crawnies are on, whether they're dark olive, whether they're dark black, it don't seem to matter. When the crawnies are dark, if you tie one of these things on, you will catch fish. You put this in front of them, and I promise you, it will catch you fish. So for any beginners out there, this is a great fly to not only learn to tie on, but you're going to go through a lot of them if you're fishing them. So it's an easy one to learn how to tie. So I just tie the wire in the full length of the hook, grab just, you know, 1/8 of an inch of the hollow tinsel at the back, and then form my taper and wrap it up. Moose, do you have to chew that right under my chair, bud? Moose was having a nap, and now he is under my chair. So wind that up, couple wraps. This is a size 12 Scud hook, 3/32 tungsten bead, and small red wire. So this one I'm going to do 2 versions. Because they were both equally effective. Kind of depended on the lake. The hotspot version was had its places for sure, and then just this original as well. But I think I probably fished them equally as much. And where do I get most of my supplies? So a lot of my hooks and beads and flash comes from Canadian Llama. They are, Kent and Amanda are amazing people. And so certainly hooks, beads, flash, that kind of thing is all from them. And miscellaneous, you know, marabous, dubbings, all that stuff, a lot of it comes from Troutwaters in Kelowna. We don't really have a shop here. Lately, I've been on the tying some old school stuff, so I've kind of been on the craft store kick. Like I got the sickest beads there the other day. I put a picture of these things up, but like look at those colors. I mean, those are badass, and I think that cost me like $4. That is a pile of beads. And they do have different sizes, so you can get different sizes and that kind of thing. But yeah, so craft stores, fly shops. Usually when I go to a fly shop, it's a few $100 because I don't go to them very often. But when I decided to get gung-ho into fly tying, I bought a ton of stuff. So no glue, just for time's sake. I'm trying to get through half a dozen here and chat and do all that stuff at the same time, so I will glue them up afterwards all together. So you can see with these size 12s, I mean, they don't take very long because there's not a whole lot of thread wraps involved in them, but yeah, pretty straightforward. Oh, come here, bud. Come on, get in here. There's the moose, ladies and gentlemen. Hi. Yeah, hi, thanks. Okay, thank you. There you go. Yeah, see? Bead City. So, not many wraps, build a little bit of taper. I only went down to the bottom of the hook once and all the way back up. That keeps it nice and thin. So less is more with these things. If you've got hardly any taper, but it's super skinny going all the way up, that's gonna probably catch more fish than something with big taper and being really chunky up at the bead. Especially the smaller you go. But those are glass beads. I think they're 8/0, those ones, but they're 6/0 to 8/0, 10/0, a bunch of different kinds. Moose, everybody says hi, bud. Oh, I mucked that right up, didn't I? The moose is loose. He always has to come say hi. And if you ever see him at the lake, be prepared because he's going to come say hi. All right. So, probably not my prettiest bug, but it'll get her done. You're getting a shit pile of snow. It's stupid, buddy. Like, absolutely stupid. I don't know what to tell you. I had 0 snow in my yard this morning, and I probably have 6 or 8 inches of snow there now. So, okay, quick zoom sesh on the Zook. Blurry as all hell, but you guys have seen these before many, many times. Most of you probably fish them. Keep fishing them, because that was this year's top dog in the crawny department. All right, next. Any takers on this one? Somebody hit me with it. 2 beads. We have a white bead and a brown bead. Black thread. I still haven't seen the name pop up there yet. Class? Anybody? Double scoop. My man Scooter. Scott knows. Here they come. All right, guys, double scoop. So I posted one of these not long ago, but this absolutely hammered. So obviously being anti-static bag helps, no question, but there is certainly something to the 2 beads, whether it keeps it in the zone, whether it's attractant, or whether it looks a little more legit because that brown is kind of tucked in back like a thorax. I don't know, but I know it crushes. So so here is another ASB hank here. So this is 1 millimeter, and this stuff is ultra thin and makes tying these crawnies super easy. I fish these in 4 feet of water. I fish these in 30 feet of water. Lay down, Moose. All right, so I tie them exactly the same as I tie pretty much all my crawnies, all my one body material anyways. So all the way down, catch the ASB in right at the back, and then just work this taper in. Beads, sizing will kind of depend on the size of the hook, but all I do is go with a 1 size smaller on the second bead. How would that glass copper bead work? Other than I don't have it small enough, it would work just fine. Anything that brownish or orangish or, you know, that type color will work. But I've got a white and then a coffee brown in behind it. And yeah, so the wire I tied in is small, UTC small in black. And I don't know if you can see, but if you put the small hole of the first bead forward, then the bigger hole is back. And when you put the other one up the same way, it kind of tucks itself up inside there, and it'll sit pretty much perfect for you. Yeah, so that's a pretty slick one, this one. So be careful on your first wrap of ASB. That's when it'll want to break on you, if it's going to break. But these things are cut laser straight, and I've never tied cleaner ASB patterns since using this stuff. It just makes life super easy. All right, so a couple wraps. Pluck it out. And if you want a close up on this one, I think it's a brown rib version that I posted not long ago. Go check it out. And 6 or 7 ribs. And then this one, you don't have to worry about much of a thorax because that brown bead is kind of working as your thorax. So you just need enough thread here just to kind of secure your ASB and your wire. And then you can throw a whip finish in and coat that sucker with some glue. And that is it. Do you resin these guys? Not usually these ones, no. They're, you will see the black come through a little bit on these, but I don't, these will just get crazy glue. I say 90% of the cronies that we tie get crazy glued. Rob doesn't use any resin at all, but I save it for certain patterns. So I don't know if I can get that close up. It's not going to want to focus, that's for sure. But anyways, you get the idea. Big white bead, small brown bead, black wire, static bag. Bada bing, bada boom. So this was certainly up there with the Zook. And then one fly I'd like to just kind of share is the LSD Brown Magic. I'm sure some of you will pipe in. Has anybody fished a LSD Brown Magic yet? If you haven't, you're missing out. And if you have, give it a shout out and make sure everybody knows that it's a kick-ass fly. I would be so confident in fishing any piece of water that I knew had chironomid hatches with just these 3 flies. Give me a Zook for when they're dark or when they're, you know, it'll work when they're olive, that kind of thing. Give me this ASB when they're starting to gas up. And then when they're shiny and going, give me the LSD. And I mean, that's it. Like, you can literally catch 80% of your fish on just those 3 bugs. So for anybody new, anybody just starting tying, if you want to really focus on something that'll help you catch some fish, those 3 cover kind of the stages that you're going to fish them in. And yeah, it's certainly, like I say, if I could only pick 3, those would be the 3, and they have proven themselves year after year. But they are the 3 that came out on top this year for sure. So, all right, just gonna wrap this one up. This is gonna be a dirty dozen for whoever wins, by the way. So I try not to overlap my ASB, just side by side wraps is all you need. Keeps it nice and thin. Feels like we overcomplicate with those 3. Sorry, what cred? Yeah, there you go. Scott's got it. Thanks, Scott. And the thread color is somewhat important here because, like I say, if you look closely, the ASB, you can kind of see the black thread underneath. It does darken it a wee bit, so it's something to be cognizant of for sure. And then again, no need to build much of a thorax with your thread. All these patterns, I like as far as how to tie them or to buy them. Materials for the LSD are laser silver tinsel from UTC, holographic brown flashaboo, brown magic bead, and rusty brown thread. Yeah, if you look down in the feed, you'll find the LSD, and all the materials are listed there for it. All right, so what do we got? We've got the leeches, the mays, the Zooks, and the static bags. I'd spin some LSDs, but I don't have any laser silver right now. It is on the way here. What else I have? Where's my list? All right, let's see if we can. Oh yeah, so honorable mention, Damsel is the ginger Damsel. primarily the Jiggy version, so tied on the jig hook. So that one's super simple. You know, tan colored marabou. This color kind of right here, that ginger tan color, gold wire and a gold bead. And the Jiggy part is certainly one that you want to use. It just allows you to get right close to the weed tops, and damsels are staple food in any lake, and they will hide amongst those weeds and trout will look for them. So the closer you can get, the better off you are. So that was our most productive damsel. And Scud is the WMD Scud pattern. It's weapons of mass destruction or wire mesh dubbing. So I've tied that before, I think, and again, it's in the feed somewhere. But it's kind of a golden yellow color wire dubbing brush, and it's like the most ridiculous fly on the planet because it literally uses that and a bead. Take a Scud hook, copper bead or gold bead, tie in your dubbing brush, wrap it up, give it a haircut on top, sweep the fibers down, trim it on the bottom, and that's it. That thing absolutely smashed. If I was fishing a Scud this year, there was a few times where I went to like old ones that I used to use with Scud back on top and that kind of thing, but I threw them all out the window, and this WMD in that golden yellow color is all I tie now, and it's all I fish. So yeah, that's one. What else have we got here? That pretty much covers my list. We've got a little bit of time left here, so maybe I can tie one of these new leeches. I've got some cones here, so let's tie one of these. So whoever gets these flies is going to have to report back just with the leeches. The other ones, I know those will catch them up, and I have confidence the leeches will as well, but because they're still kind of in that prototype stage, we like to fish them for a solid year or two before we put them out. But these ones were not, we haven't had a ton of time to fish them, but they were stupid good. So somebody can help us fish them, and that'll allow us to narrow it down a little bit quicker. And if I can find the right hook, then we will tie some up. So I'm going to tie the Opal eye version. So that's kind of a bluish bead. And I think these are 1/8 cone heads, these ones. And then either an A-dot bead. The bead is okay if it's a little bit bigger. So you can see it butts up to that comb, but it doesn't disappear. All right, so kind of like so. All right, here we go. Okay, so we just wrap. I'm just gonna wrap the heck out of that until that bead stops wanting to move. And it'll kind of seat itself in there. And I'm gonna grab some black marabou. So once you've peeled the marabou, so like this, for instance, I use this to tie those other two leeches. So 1 leech, 2 leech, and then if you come up here, get rid of that stem off the tip, like so. Now you can get a 3rd leech out of that marabou feather. Favorite crawny hook size? Probably a 1760. If you were going to have just one size, that covers kind of the small or medium bugs, and yeah, that's a lot of it anyhow. Okay, hang on one second. I gotta go get some supplies. Okay, so this is that, there's a bunch of different colors, but this one I'm doing in black. Favorite marabou is, there's got to be a pack of it here somewhere. This is white, but it doesn't matter. So these select plumes, Moose, can you leave that, please? The select plumes I really like because I tie a lot of twisted marabou stuff. Yeah, it's kind of a go-to marabou for me, but you could have crappy, just one pack of marabou can be crappy. If you're in the fly shop, take a good look at it before you buy it. Some packs are a lot better than others. You can save yourself a pain in the butt just with that. Okay, so with this stuff, it's kind of neat. So I'll show it to you here. You can see the fibers only come off one side, right? So unlike most that are really thick, this stuff is pretty sparse, and maybe that's what helps it. But the rope is a decent size and thickness, so it provides really good segmentation. Have that seated properly. So with this, you can use lead if you want to seat that bead, but I got it sitting there just fine. And then if you get this going the right direction, so I'll just sweep that back. That's gonna not want to cooperate on me, so I gotta go the other way. All right, so you can see when I wrap it, those fibers naturally want to lay backwards, and then I can just kind of wrap this side by side all the way up. The fibers are laying back on their own. The rope is coming right next to one another. And so the underbody is that kind of segmented rope. And then the rest of it are those gnarly fibers that are coming out. It's not super flashy stuff either, which sometimes can be a good thing. Couple wraps to tie it off and trim it out. There it is. What is it called? It's called the Gojo Leech, or Gojo chenille, Fritz, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, Gojo Leech. Is there trash talking going on in here? Let's settle down now. Let's settle down. Yes, people, Moose is bored in the background. So for anybody curious, we did this one at 7 o'clock because a lot of people asked if we could do this one at 7 instead of 8 because 8 was too late. But when you have a moose, 8 is perfect because he is tuckered out and played out by 8 o'clock. Today, not so much. And is that your ball? Can you drop it? There you go. So he's still going. Yeah, it's not super flashy at all. So like, I mean, it's got some gloss to it, right? Like you can see it picks up the light, but it's not like holographic or anything like that. It is quite sparse. So come in real close here. So it's pretty sparse, right? But yeah, super, super neat stuff. And it crushed this fall. So there's the blue bead is the emerald, the green bead, or sorry, the blue bead is the opal, green is emerald, and that, if you can see it, is the green color. And of course, just like Brian, the ruby eye style of his works awesome too. But just change up that material and add some fluffy marabou in there. But again, it's stupid simple, and you guys probably get bored of the simple fly patterns. But I don't know what it is. Sometimes you come across some cool stuff, and you wrap it around a hook and it just works. But when that gets wet, you can't see it here, but when that gets wet, all that segmentation underneath pops through and looks super, super neat. So yeah, so that's that. Oh, that was a lot of tying and a lot of talking for 1 hour. I will tell you what, The body is called Gojo. Gojo. Check it out on our store. Link to the store is on the website. I can never remember the store's site name, so that's horrible. But if you go to flyguys.net, you will see the store link, and it'll take you right to it. You can get the ASB strips and the Gojo as well. Simple is best. Yeah, like I say, simple is good. You know, if you're just new to tying or you've been tying forever, just because you can tie fancy stuff doesn't mean you need to, because the moose, come on, man, really? Just because you can tie stuff doesn't mean it's going to catch you more fish. A lot of times it's the cheap stuff and the simple stuff that gets it done. So, all right, we got a bit of a giveaway to do here. So you're going to end up with, what are you going to end up with? You're going to get 6 Gojo leeches. You're going to get 2 ice dub leeches. You're going to get 2 TNA mayflies, 2 zucchinis, as well as 2 double scoops. So, yeah. Let's go to town. There was a shit ton of typing and talking, so I'm going to try and do this quickly. You guys know how this comments thing works. There's a ton of it, and if I scroll through, I cannot see who I'm pointing on because it goes way too quick. So here we go. We are up and down, up and down, up and down, and stop. All right, the last salmon man. Are you home? The last salmon man. Are you in the building? Holy Moses. The last salmon man. You have a minute or two to speak up. And if you do not, we will redraw. But the last salmon man. Are you home? You are the winner. I don't hear him. Sucks to be him. A little bit. Not gonna lie. Where you at, bud? You're missing out. That's a dirty dozen. It's actually more than a dozen. There's 14 or 15 flies there, so there is no more salmon men. That's okay. These are trout flies. What's a salmon man gonna do with trout flies, right? All right, well, I don't think he is here. So, unfortunately, we are going to run out of time, so I'm going to do another one. Here it goes. Scrolling, scrolling, scrolling quickly, and stop. Clunty. C-L-U-N-T-Y. Are you in the building? C-L-N-T-Y. Are you in the building? Holy. Are we over here? Clunty, there he is. All right. That is our lucky winner, folks. I appreciate every single one of you for stopping by. These were our top producing flies of the year. I'm sorry I couldn't tie them all. We don't quite have that much time, but I did let you know. If you want to see them, they're in the feed. Check it out. 90% of them have recipes. And if you need a refreshing on one, send me a PM or a DM, and I will gladly get you materials or a material list, whatever you need. But don't be shy. We're here to help. And that was awesome. So right on, guys. Everybody have a Merry Christmas. Stay very safe out there. Times are tough. I get it. But we'll do some more of this stuff. It seems to pass the time and help us for next spring too, when hopefully things are a little bit better. So that's all I got. I will, Clunty, send me a DM. I'll need your address and stuff, and I'll get those shipped out to you. And yeah, all the rest of you, stay safe, happy tying, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers, guys.